Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Worried about Deontay. There's a lot of people, man, who have an opinion about him. But I'm going to tell you, man, I'm worried about him. I ain't going to lie. A lot of us, I don't know how old you guys are watching this video, but I'm 50. And I've worked around a lot of people like a lot of you have. And when I watch Deontay, he's going through a lot, man. I don't need him to tell me that, to know that he's going through a lot. And even Tony Bellew, he came out and he says he's worries about Deontay Wilder ahead of the Chisora fight. Says the brother's going through some stuff and it's all coming out in the wrong places. I feel for him. I hope he works this out. I really do. It's not nice to watch. But I'm going to tell you this. You can look in a man's eyes, man, and can see what's really going on with him. And when I watched Deontay Wilder with Chisora, and I listen to Deontay Wilder and watch him on interviews, Deontay Wilder looks defeated, man. And that's sad to see somebody like Deontay Wilder who was out here, man, on top of the world. People really didn't give him credit then, but, there was a lot of people acting like they love him then. He went through what he went through with the Tyson Fury fights. And whatever happened, especially in the second fight, third fight, and he started saying he felt there was some foul play. I think there was foul play. I did my research. I'm telling you, from where there's smoke, there's fire. It's too many signs, too many indicators there to let me know that we need to throw a flag here and say, yo, something's not right. And I think Deontay Wilder is spot on. Now, as far as what evidence and proof he has, I mean, I want to hear about that. But as far as his this feeling, spidey senses tingling, oh, he has every right to feel that way. But what I'm going to tell you is it's a strong topic, talking about Deontay Wilder and the allegations about Tyson Fury. I know everybody has an opinion. Some think this is BS. Some think they believe it 100%. I'm going to tell you, I think from where there's smoke, there's fire. I think there's something there. And I do, but I want Deontay Wilder to come out here and just give us the hard proof that he has. Because as long as he keeps talking about it without giving any proof, it's not really helping his case. And that's why you got some people, they hear something, they just believe it, and they run with it. You got to stop and think for yourself. You got to be properly informed before you make a judgment, man. But I think people forget that Deontay Wilder is not just a boxer. He's a man under public pressure. And fans are reacting emotionally to what they're seeing. So I want to be honest, compassionate, and still engaging, talking about Deontay Wilder without turning this into gossip or disrespect. Because I'm telling you, I believe Deontay Wilder's onto something. Based on the research I've done, I'm sure he's got something that's going to have everybody out here and have people's jaws dropping. But he needs to give that information, man. But if he doesn't, I can understand. He's holding on to it, and he's going to do things his way. And that's what you should do. Don't just give people bullshit content because they want it. Nah, take your time. Think about how you want to approach things. And then go about presenting it when you're ready and do it in your own way. So should we be worried about Deontay Wilder? Look, what people are seeing, Wilder's recent interviews sound more emotional, more reflective, more frustrated. But he seems to be less confident than before. Like something about his confidence has been disrupted. What caused it, I don't know. But I do believe when he's talking about betrayal, I think that has affected him. Talking about being used, I think that's affected him. Talked about feeling misunderstood, I think that has affected him. And losing trust in people, I think has devastated him. Where he can't trust people now. You know how lonely that's got to be? Where you have people around you just can't trust anybody anymore? Because you've been betrayed, you've been misused, you've been abused. That's all. That's got to be horrible. But to fans, when they're watching him, right, the real ones, they're like, this man is lonely. Like, that's how I feel. I feel like Deontay Wilder is lonely. I don't care what he says. The bronze bomber is back. I ain't convinced. I think I think he's still hurting. Whatever it is that he's experienced, I think he's still hurting. He's still struggling. He's lonely. I think he's depressed. I think he's burnt out. Something has him fighting. I don't think he wants to fight. He says his financial advisor asked him, why are you doing this? So I think there's some emotional exhaustion on Deontay Wilder's part. But I'll be honest with you, I can't put my finger on what has this man fighting. Outside of money, but if you don't need it, why do it? There's gotta be another reason. So I think we gotta be careful trying to understand him and not try to diagnose him. Because ain't nobody out here qualified to diagnose him, you know what I'm saying? But what we can say is he's clearly going through something mentally and emotionally. And it's obvious, you know what I'm saying? But why is this happening now? I think he's had some career trauma. And again, he feels the way he feels about them Fury fights. He doesn't talk about any other fight. Nothing. It's those Fury fights that he talks about. The undefeated record was gone. That did something to him. He lost violently to Tyson Fury, especially in that second and third fight. That did something to Deontay Wilder, especially because he feels that there was some wrongdoing. And he said 2 of the fights. And that aura of invincibility that he once had, it's gone. And the respect that people had for him, and the fear I think people had of him, and the way he was received by people, I think that's gone. Doesn't mean that he's not liked and he's not appreciated. I think there's something else he felt that he doesn't feel anymore when he's around people. And I think that could affect a person. And I think that's affecting Deontay Wilder. You see, you got to be tied to winning when you're a fighter. You know, you can't be tied to losing. You can't be tied to getting draws. You got to be tied to winning. Look at Gervonta Davis, how people treat him now. It has nothing to do with the shit going on in his personal life. That fight with Lamont Roach, and look how everyone just turned their back on that man. Just turned their back on him. Ridiculous how they did Gervonta. And look how they do Wilder. Look how they did Earl Spence. Look how they did Canelo. You know, boxing fans are poison, man. But Deontay Wilder's got it pretty bad because he was pretty vocal about some things, and a lot of fans, they weren't trying to hear that. But when you have career trauma, confidence cracks, ego collapses, and your purpose for what you're doing gets a bit shaky. It's like you start hearing them say, I don't have to do this. Why am I doing this? Man, I don't know. Maybe just for another year. You know, there's no longer the passion, the hunger. Like, you hear a difference in their tone. But that personal betrayal, Wilder has talked about friends using him, family expecting money, feeling taken advantage of. That's got to suck, because I think what that creates in a person are trust issues, isolation, anger, sadness, depression. That's got to be rough, man, when you have personal betrayal. And then you're getting older now. It's a bit of uncertainty about what you can do in the ring as far as your performance. Can you pull the trigger? He's no longer the feared destroyer he once was. Younger fighters are coming. Retirement is closer than it's ever been, even though he said he wants to fight 10 more years. And I think what this causes in him is a little bit of fear. Like, shit, I don't really know if I can keep doing what I was doing, knocking people out. I think it causes some grief, and I think it causes a loss of identity. You know, am I still Bomb Squad, the Bronze Bomber? Am I still that guy? Am I still that knockout artist? Because he hasn't really shown that in his last few fights, has he? So when you start losing your identity when you're a guy like Deontay Wilder, and then you start trying to convince people that you're still that guy in your back after going through a lot of trauma, his words start to sound dark. His words are sounding dark. And I'm watching him and I'm like, he seems like someone who's processing pain, man. You know what I mean? Like, he really seems like someone is processing pain. He's not trying to entertain people. What he's doing is not an act. That shit is not an act. You can sit back and watch him. He's going through something, man. And he sure ain't trying to hyper fight. And I think this is important because fighters are taught to hide their vulnerability. And when they finally show it, fans get uncomfortable. And Wilder's showing a little bit of everything. But I think people should stop and say, you know what? Instead of trying to mock him and make fun of him, I think they need to understand there's something going on with Wilder. And maybe he just finally stopped pretending and he's just like, this is me. I don't give a F. This is what I'm going through. This is what I feel. And, I'm going to speak my truth. And that's why he's talking about, Fury. He's talking about race, white privilege, him being a black man, like he says, dark-skinned black man from Alabama and his experiences. He's just letting a lot of shit out right now. And that may be healthy to help him get beyond what it is that could be, holding him back or bogging him down. It could be what he needs is come out here and talk and get shit off his chest because he's been doing that. But I just have to ask the question, like, should fans be worried about him? Because I'm worried about him. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know him from a can of paint. I don't know Deontay Wilder. But I watch him and I have an idea. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I know I can listen when someone starts rambling on and saying shit and jumping from this to that, and I understand. That's what happens, man, when you're depressed, you're grieving, you're struggling to come to terms with certain things. It messes you up, man. A lot of us have been through that. That's why it bugs me out when people are out here just, poking this man in the eye and trying to kick him while he's down. I don't understand that. I really don't understand it. You know what I mean? I think Deontay Wilder deserves a lot more support than what he's getting. But don't panic just because Wilder's out here talking and saying different things. Nah, y'all don't need to be panicked. But human concerned about him. I think it's only if you really got a heart, you'd be watching him instead of being like panic worried or judgmental, want to mock him and clown him. No, you'd be worried about it. You'd be like, yo, something's going on with this guy. You know what I mean? Just have a genuine concern for him. And I think concern is healthy, man. I mean, Wilder's emotional. He sounds very tired. He seems isolated. He seems like a nowherean. Like he just has nowhere to go. He's all by himself. I'm just watching, man. That's just what I see. And hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm just having a conversation. I ain't saying I'm right. I just say he just seems lonely and isolated. But there's no proof that he's dangerous to anything or anyone. No proof that his soul is broken. It's just observations. And no proof that he's done with boxing. But what we do see is a man who's processing a whole lot right now. A lot of disappointment, a lot of hurt, a lot of sadness, a lot of trauma. He was hurt by betrayal, unsure about his future. I know he talks about those kids, and his kids are good to go. And that right there is the one thing he came into boxing for, and he considers it box checked. And I think for that, he deserves support, he deserves respect, and he deserves more patience than what people are giving him, man. He doesn't need the memes, doesn't need people mocking him, doesn't need to be dismissed. That's I don't think that's necessary. Now, as far as fans and how they're going to feel, I mean, people are going to feel how they want. Nobody can tell you how to feel, right? But I would say that the fans are split. I think one group is like, Wilder just out here making excuses. The next group is like, yo, no, he really needs help. But the truth is, both can exist, right? It can be both. You can hold him accountable and still show empathy. You can say he lost, but he's still human. And if he's really lonely, from what he said, I think, he's lonely emotionally. I think, yes, some of that loneliness derives from some of the social awkwardness he's experiencing. I think some of that loneliness is a result of just his spirit being broken. And I'll tell you, when rich athletes lose trust, when they lose fights, when they lose their identities, they often pull inward, push people away, they talk less. and they sound bitter to the untrained ear. And to me, this is a warning sign. This is not a weakness. I think what we're seeing with Deontay Wilder is a lot of warning signs, a lot of red flags. And that's why I'm worried about him. So does he need support? I mean, support doesn't mean tell him he's great. That's not support. Just support means just, let him talk. I do a live calling. I've been this way for the last 4 months. People call into my show, I let them talk. I don't try to overtalk you. If you're ranting and raving, I try to at least settle you down till we can have a conversation. But, sometimes you got to sit back and just let people talk. Let Deontay Wilder talk. Let him heal. Let him step back. Don't pile on. That's what a lot of people do out here on social media. They all get together, travel as a tribe, and they want to kick people while they're down and dogpile them and just talk a bunch of bullshit. And social media is a very dark place. And to see them do that to guys like Deontay Wilder, to me, it kind of sucks. It's one thing, a guy out here in your little, people are going to have jokes, right? Ain't nothing wrong with jokes. But it's something you got to stop. When you see somebody that's going through like what Deontay Wilder's going through, that's when you got to stop and say, okay, this is dangerous for a man who's hurting. This is dangerous for a man who's hurting. We should probably be more supportive, be a bit more reticent, and stop with all the ridicule and just try to understand what he's going through and show him support. But he feels misunderstood. I think Wilder, now this is just my opinion, I think he's kind of sitting back like these people only see me as a fighter who's a puncher. They see the knockout, they see the bravado, but people don't see that I'm a father, I'm a human being, I'm a betrayed friend, I'm a tired man, I'm an insecure human, I'm a guy who was done wrong by a woman. You know what I mean? I feel Wilder, that's his conversation with himself sometimes. Like, man, these people don't know what I go through. There's more to me than this bullshit you see on social media. They don't know me. They don't know who I am. So he talks in pain. Fans say stop whining. And when fans come out here giving him the business, that just widens the emotional gap. But what this says about boxing is this boxing culture celebrates destruction and it punishes vulnerability. If you show that you're vulnerable, your problems will compound and fans will kick you while you're down. And I didn't mean for that to rhyme and shit. I'm not trying to be a hip hop artist and shit. But one thing I noticed about Wilder, I noticed this a while back, and I thought it was odd to see him crying. When I saw him crying after the Helenius fight, to be somebody's father, to be a father, man. And then he started crying. I was like, I remember I said in one of my videos, I said, that's not normal. I remember I said, yo, that's not normal. See this man crying like that. I was like, that shit is not normal. You know what I mean? And I mean that to this day. Like when I saw it, I was like, that was when I knew something ain't right there. So to hear him talking now, coming full circle and opening up, I was like, okay, the writing was on the wall back then. I was commenting on it. People were like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, no, I do. Been around the block, man. I'm telling you, something's going on with him. But we couldn't figure it out. But I knew something was going on. But now we know. He was going through it in his personal life. Going through it. Still going through it. He's hurting, man. That dude is hurting. And in my opinion, he has a new woman in his life and all that, but I think that his past relationship, I think that hurt him. What he experienced, I think that really messed him up. I really do. And I'm just telling you from experience, man. Most of us out here, men and women, we've had boyfriends, girlfriends, and we've had people who we liked and broke up, and then, you go through your little emotions, when you go through that, you pick up someone else, that ain't what you really want, just something to do. You know what I'm saying? It takes a while to get beyond that shit. But I'll tell you this, I'm rooting for him, you know what I'm saying? There's no safe space for pain in boxing. And Wilder has it sounds like he has a lot of pain. So the bigger message to me is this isn't just about Wilder. It's about fighters after defeat, men after betrayal, athletes after identity loss. And what he represents is what happens after the roar fades. You know what I'm saying? When the lion can no longer roar, this is what happens. People start to hear that roar as more like a meow, and that's how they treat you. That silence replaces applauses, and it makes you feel really lonely. Really lonely, man. So my final thought when it comes to Deontay Wilder, man, he just doesn't look happy. He doesn't sound at peace. He doesn't seem fulfilled. That doesn't mean that he's finished. It just means that he's still going through a lot of shit. And he needs time, he needs support, he needs space, he needs understanding. And I hope he's not rushing himself into this Derek Chisora fight thinking that this is going to be something sweet and easy. He keeps saying, I need Chisora. I know he's not going to take it easy. He knows what Chisora brings to the table. I hope he knows what he's doing, because I'm telling you, Derek Chisora is not going to come in there and tickle coochie coo and try to chicken peck his way to a victory. He understands that with Deontay Wilder, he has a dead man walking in front of him, and he's going to try to put him in the dirt. I hope Wilder understands that when he gets in there, he got enough life in him to make Chisora realize, holy shit, the dead man ain't walking, he's got life. And Wilder can sit there and put Chisora in the dirt. I like both fighters, but I just feel like the odds are stacked against Wilder. I really do. And if he loses, social media is not going to take it easy on him. Because most of them don't give a shit and they don't even think the way that I'm thinking and have the conversation I'm having. I'm watching him and I see somebody who he's not complete. He is not 100%. And he about to get in the ring with Derek Chisora, a guy who's fighting his 50th fight. This is his retirement fight. You think Chisora want to go out on his back? I hope Deontay Wilder know what he got himself into, because I'm telling you, shit ain't going to be sweet when he and Derek Chisora get in that ring. Anyway, man, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.